The assortment of games included in this video are kind of random, but don't blame me, you can blame my parents. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Payton. It is nice to meet you, it is nice to see you, and welcome to the corner. Another Nintendo Direct has just come and gone, and as per usual, we're seeing a lot of older titles come back brand new for Nintendo Switch. All of this speculation of what games will come to Switch and what won't has got me thinking a lot about the games I used to play as a little Payton's Corner. And so, in today's video, I thought it would be fun to go through some of my very favorite games from my childhood and rank them for you. For reference, I'm a 23-year-old, so the games that were from my childhood might be different from your childhood, of course, depending on your age. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at mainly Nintendo games, with the exception of one that I played as a kid, specifically on DS, Gamecube, and the Wii, as those were my main consoles that I had when I was a kid. But before we get into it, please be sure to click the lovely little like button, as well as subscribe for more cozy, chaotic content like this. Okay, I'll shut up and let's go back in time. Okay, and here we are. Here is the tier list that I've made you. So obviously I played more than like 25 games, but I thought for the sake of the video, I would only include the 25 that were most prevalent to me as I was thinking of games that I played as a kid. Now I've come up with a couple different categories for you. All of these games I liked. Obviously, these were my favorite games, so I didn't hate any of these games. I just liked some more than others. Okay, starting off with Mario Kart DS. I believe this was the first ever DS game I had. Now I know what you're thinking, Payton, why are there no Game Boy games? Like, what's up with that? I didn't actually have a Game Boy. My brother had a Game Boy. So sometimes I would play his Game Boy, but it really wasn't until I had my DS that was my first time fully gaming, because it was all my own. It's a good game. It's Mario in go-karts racing. It was the first one. It was fine. I think if we didn't have so many iterations of Mario Kart, obviously this probably would be higher on the list. I'm gonna just give it, it's a solid game. Solid. It was good. Nice tracks. I enjoyed it. I don't really have that many innovative thoughts about Mario Kart DS, just, it was good. I liked it. Comparing that directly with a Mario Kart for GameCube. GameCube was by far my favorite system. I was a GameCube girl. I loved the GameCube so much. The GameCube was like my best friend. That being said, it's important to know I'm not really judging these games based off of how good they are. I'm judging them based off of how much joy they brought me and how nostalgic I feel about them. So, is Mario Kart GameCube the greatest game in the world? Probably not, but was it the most nostalgic thing for me? Yes, it was. So I'm gonna put it in, I loved this so much. I loved this one so much because I always played this one with my friends. I remember specifically what I liked about this one is you could play with your friend and one of you could be in charge of driving and then the other person could be in charge of like throwing the items. So I remember growing up, my friends and I always would alternate, like who was the one better at the driving, who was the one better at the throwing the items. It had really cool tracks. I remember the Daisy Cruise Line being my favorite track out of all of them, but they were all good and I really, really loved it. We might as well compare that directly to Mario Kart for the Wii, which I also really enjoyed. I think the best part of Mario Kart for the Wii though was the wheel attachment. They had this like plastic wheel, put your Wii controller in the middle of the wheel, and then you could turn the wheel as if you were actually driving. And I remember when this came out, everybody who was anybody had one of these. I wanted one so bad. But the problem with the game was I feel like it wasn't as fun if you didn't have the wheel. I remember I would fight with people for this wheel, and if I didn't have it, I wasn't that into the game as much. While I really liked the tracks on this one, there were so many more than the previous ones. For me, the one on GameCube is just a little bit more nostalgic, so I'm gonna put this in solid game as well, but I'm gonna put it above the DS one. The next game on the list was Super Princess Peach. Now, admittedly, I did forget that this game existed. When I was looking for games to include in this video, I couldn't help but Google like early 2000s Nintendo games, and I scrolled through a list and I was like, oh yeah, I played that one, and I had totally forgotten about Super Princess Peach. For me growing up, I definitely played a lot of the classic Mario platformer games, you know, what it looks like and what it is. And they were fine, and I never was that excited about them, truthfully, don't hate me. But I remember when the Princess Peach game came out, I was super excited because, as far as I know, there wasn't a dedicated game relating to Peach. And especially for me growing up as a little girl who liked video games, it was something that was special to me to be able to, you know, have a whole game about Peach. I don't really remember that much from the game, but because it kind of had that special place in my heart, like I was able to be Peach instead of being Mario or Luigi for the first time, I'm gonna put it in it was cute. I really couldn't, I'm debating between it being forgettable, because I don't remember that much of it, but I do remember its importance to me, and we're judging it based off of the nostalgia rather than the gameplay itself, so for me, it was cute. Now, the next game on the list was the Tinkerbell game. Oh my god. If you didn't have the pleasure of playing the Tinkerbell DS game, I'm sorry for you. Frankly, I'm sorry for you. So, in case you didn't know, there were this big string of Tinkerbell movies that came out when I was younger. I don't even know what year they came out at this point. And they made several of them, and there were several DS games, but I really only played the first game. The other movies kind of came out as I was starting to get a little bit older, and I wasn't like as into it. This one specifically, I remember loving so much as a kid. What was really cool about this one was all of the characters from the movie were in it, of course, but it was really cool because you got to be a fairy, got to play as Tinkerbell, and you got to help change the seasons. So the game looked really pretty. You had to do all of these different tasks in order to have all of the seasons change smoothly, all while getting to play various different mini games depending on which NPC you were helping. I remember specifically, since Tinkerbell was a Tinker Fairy, a lot of your tasks had to do with fixing things, and I remember thinking it was a cool game because the DS had this dynamic of like, sometimes there was dust on a pan and you would actually have to like blow into the DS, the dust off of it, and I thought that was super cute. In addition, I remember the customization was really fun. Specifically, you could make your own outfits in the shop. There was a lot in this game. I feel like sometimes when you have games like this that are coming from a movie, they're very just generic and there isn't a lot of content put in it. But this game specifically was so amazing. I loved this so much. This was so great. I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna put it above Mario Kart. Honestly, I probably played Mario Kart more, but this one just felt so special and so unique to me, and it's definitely stayed with me over the years. The next game is my #1 dream game for Switch, okay? I know that might be surprising when you see what's next to it, but Style Savvy, I think, is one of my, I don't know how many hours I have in Style Savvy. I don't have my DSi that I played this on handy, but I played this game nonstop. In case you don't know what Style Savvy is, it's a super adorable game where you are a fashion stylist. So it's your job to pretty much pick out outfits for people. But don't get it twisted, it's not just a dress-up game where you get to customize your character. It is actually very involved. You have to run your own boutique, and there are different clothing brands of different kind of styles, and it's your job to, when customers come in, try and figure out what exact style they're looking for. Basically build up your own boutique by getting more successful and happy customers. You also get to do fashion shows, you can play with your friends and visit their stores. It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun because I remember there being so many different clothing options, and I remember this being such a fun game for me growing up. I feel like it kind of helped me figure out what I like as far as style goes at such a young age. I remember playing this game specifically in like 3rd and 4th grade, and that's kind of like the time I was trying to experiment with, you know, picking out my own clothes when I would go shopping with my parents instead of them picking it out. This one, you're not allowed to judge me, okay? S tier. This shaped who I am as a person. I played this nonstop. It gave me so much joy, and it really helped me feel confident and able to express myself in whatever way I wanted to. And when I was a kid, I chose crazy outfits to wear, and this kind of helped me feel like I was free to do it. Moving on to one of the most popular games on the list, we have Nintendogs. So Nintendogs actually had like 3 or 4 separate DS games, and each one came with its own unique dog breeds you could have. I had all of them, so although I'm using the picture from just one game here, this represents the whole franchise. In case you're unfamiliar with Nintendogs, it was a super cute sandbox-style game where you have puppies, and you care for the puppies, play with the puppies. You can go walk the puppy, meet other puppies, train your puppy. You can even do agility training with your puppy. Admittedly, looking back on it, there's not that much to do, but there is something so charming about this game. I know it's really impacted my life and so many other people's. I think what was so cool about Nintendogs was the dogs felt and acted and behaved kind of like real dogs. At the time, the graphics I feel like were so cool. Looking back at it now, maybe not. At the time, I remember being dazzled away by how realistic these dogs looked and how they behaved. I'll never forget one time I accidentally gave up one of my dogs, and I didn't mean to, and I remember crying hysterically about it for days. So I think in that case, I will say it shaped who I am as a person, especially being someone who loves dogs. I'm definitely a dog person, and dogs have always been a part of my personal life. Nintendogs was a nice way for me as a kid to kind of get a basic idea of what it would eventually be like when I got my own dogs to raise, play with. Maybe not obedience train so much, but you know, do a little bit of training here and there. And this one I so badly want to have a revival of as well. Being that I play cozy games now, and this is a cozy games channel, obviously looking at some of these games, they're not cozy, but stuff like Nintendogs, Sloth Squad, the Tinkerbell game, definitely cozy games, and I'd love to see them brought into a new life on the Nintendo Switch or future Nintendo console. Moving on from DS to our next major console, we're talking about Gamecube, my favorite out of all of the consoles. You'll see in a row here, I have some different Sonic games. Growing up, I was really into Sonic. I don't know how it started. I think it started because when I was really little, the dentist we would go to, in their waiting room, they had an old school Sonic like arcade game, and I always used to play that while waiting. And I think that that's the first time I ever played Sonic. That's not included on this list, but it made me really like Sonic. There was also a Sonic TV show in like kindergarten. My friends and I would like play pretend as Sonic characters, which is, this video is exposing so much about me. Try that many franchises as a kid. As you can see, there are no Pokemon and no Zelda games on here. That's not my fault. I never played them, and that is, because my parents didn't buy them. They bought these. Starting off with one of 4 Sonic games on the list. This one was called Sonic Adventure DX. And this game, I remember almost nothing. I don't remember buying this game. I don't remember playing the story mode of this game. The only thing I remember from this game is that there was, and I don't even remember if this is how you say it, there are these little baby things in Sonic. I wanted to call them Puffles because they look like Puffles from Club Penguin. They're called KOs. KO, right? KO? Because it's like chaos, but without the S. KO? They're these little baby things, and I loved them so much. And in this game, the only good part of this game that I remember was there was a whole island you could go to full of the KOs, and you could take care of them, you could hatch eggs to get more of them, you could play mini games with them. And I remember playing this game, the only thing I did was go to that island. I don't remember anything else, so I'm gonna put it in forgettable, but if they made a spin-off game just about the KOs, I would be so there for it. The next game, also Sonic, is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. This game, I also remember a little bit less than some of the others, but I remember why I remember less. It's because I lost my copy of this game, and I think one of my friends stole it because we had so much fun playing it. All I remember about this one is it's pretty much like a classic Sonic game. You're going through these different levels. But this one was really fun to play multiplayer with your friends. Specifically, it had a lot of fun levels where you can like grind on rails, which for some reason that was like my favorite thing, like switching between the rails was fun. This was a really good multiplayer Sonic game. I don't remember that much of it, but I remember having a lot of fun with it. So I'm gonna say it was cute. I'm gonna put it above Peach though. It's gonna go above Peach. Now this one I do remember. This one was Shadow the Hedgehog, and I don't know what was wrong with me. As a kid, I was a little obsessed with this man. I don't know why. I was so obsessed with the Shadow the Hedgehog. I think I was trying to be like edgy and think I was like cool. Like, ooh, I don't want to pick the normal Sonic is my favorite. I want to be the dark, edgy one. So Shadow was always my favorite. When they came out with this game, I remember being so excited about it because in past games, all we would see is like Shadow coming in as an opponent. We wouldn't really get to do a whole lot with Shadow. So this was all about him, his origin story. Not gonna lie, I don't remember any of the origin story, but I do remember the multiplayer function of this game you got to be not just Shadow, but you also were able to be metal versions of Shadow. And there was like a hot pink one, there was like a yellow one, there was like really cool stuff. I remember mostly playing this one multiplayer. Growing up with my brother, we would play this one a lot. Admittedly, again, I don't remember that much about it. Probably I remember more than the other Sonic game I just mentioned. It was just okay. It was cool. It was cool. I'm gonna say it was a cute game. I'm gonna say it's a cute game. It was cool. It was cute. I liked it. But none of the other Sonic games come close to Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes, like Style Savvy, I have an unimaginable amount of hours in this game. Sonic Heroes, frankly, is one of the best games I've ever played. It's the truth. In case you don't know Sonic Heroes, why not? It was the best. Pretty much there were these different teams you could play as. You could play as the classic team, which is Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. You could play as like the cutesy team with Amy and the cute little bunny whose name I don't remember, and the other guy whose name I don't remember. You could play as my favorite team, which was Shadow the Hedgehog, Rouge the Bat, who was my favorite character in the whole franchise, and Omega the Robot. There was also another team too, like a chaotic team with an alligator and like a bumblebee, and this other Knuckles type looking guy that was pink, who I also don't remember the name of. The point was, as always, to stop Dr. Eggman from doing shenanigans. But what was really cool about Sonic Heroes was you got to play the same storyline with these really cool, diverse levels a bunch of different ways. Pretty much, you could play the storyline from each team's point of view. Although you're playing in the same environment, the levels severely change depending on which team you're playing as each team has different members who have special skills. And each team had its own difficulty level as well, so some teams were easier to play and get through all the levels with than others, so it was kind of your mission to get 100% perfect with every single team. And then once you make it 100% through with all of the different teams, you then unlock a special event to try and battle Metal Sonic, which I admittedly never even won as an adult, so I don't know how the game ends, but I played this game nonstop. It was by far one of my favorites growing up. This one absolutely shaped who I am as a person, even more so than Style Savvy, which if you know me now and the kinds of games I play, this whole video is probably so very surprising because I'm always like, I don't like combat, I don't like platformers. Lies, apparently I do. Moving on to our next GameCube game, we have Mario Party 4. Now, Mario Party 4 was my first ever Mario Party games. As a whole, I like Mario Party games. I still do as an adult, admittedly play them a lot less, as I think they're mainly fun when you're at parties and stuff, and I'm not at many parties anymore, but when I was a child, the girls were coming over for the sleepover party. You rented something from Blockbuster, you watched it, and then you had late night Mario Party 4. So I was playing a lot more of these kind of games back then. Mario Party 4, standard Mario Party game. It's a board game with mini games, but this one was so fun because the mini games in this one were like infinite and very iconic. This one had the most mini games I feel like I've ever seen in a Mario Party game. I could be wrong, I've only played like 2 or 3. Not only were the mini games themselves fun, but I feel like the board game had a lot more kind of twists and turns to it. There was a Bowser space you could land on, as there are in pretty much every Mario Party game ever, but this one unlocked Bowser-specific mini games that were like unhinged. I remember one of them specifically was called Fruits of Doom, and it was your job to guess what fruit Bowser wanted, and if you guessed wrong, you were set on fire and you didn't win the points. It was fun. I liked it a lot. I loved this so much. I'm gonna give it... Ooh, do I like it more than Mario Kart? Yeah, I think I do. I think I like it more than Mario Kart, but less than Tinkerbell. And then going off of that, we have Mario Party 7. Now, in case you're thinking, what happened to Mario Party 5 and 6? I don't know. I had Mario Party 4, and I had Mario Party 7. I have never played other Mario Party games. These were the two. I remember Mario Party 7 being so fun. Cruise ship? The whole kind of like gimmick with this one was it was happening on a cruise ship. I remember that there were significantly less mini games compared to Mario Party 4 in this one. However, none of the mini games missed. I feel like all of the mini games in this one were really good. There was like a jumping rope one, there was a gliding one, there was one where you had to like pass, it was basically like hot potato but with a bomb. They were all good, they were all fun. There were some more fun characters in this one compared to Mario Party 4. Because there were so many more mini games in Mario Party 4, I think it just made for a better game in my opinion, because there were so many more opportunities for you to not know what the mini game was going to be. Rather than in Mario Party 7, I feel like it didn't take you that long to cycle through all of the mini games that existed, and I just thought that the board game itself had more twists and turns to it, so I liked Mario Party 4 better than 7. But I'm gonna say it's a solid game. I'm gonna say it's more solid. I'm gonna give it ahead of DS Mario Kart, but behind Wii Mario Kart. The next... I'm exposing myself so much. This is so embarrassing. Okay, so the next game is Super Smash Bros. Melee on the Gamecube. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where is Super Smash Bros. On the Wii? I don't see it down there. I never played it. I don't know why, because I loved this game so much. I don't know why. But this game I played a lot of, which again, surprising, because I always tell you all I don't really like combat games, which is true. So Super Smash Bros. Melee, in case you're unfamiliar, it's a Super Smash Bros. Game. It combines multiple different Nintendo characters from different franchises, and you can have them fight each other. Each one has its own special power. You have a lot of different levels and atmospheres from each Nintendo game. Play against your friends, but you could also play the main storyline, which helps you unlock even more characters. It was really fun. However, I don't think I played this game in the way you played this game. This is so embarrassing. Why am I gonna tell you this? I played this game normally sometimes, like with my friends. We would like fight each other and I'd do the story mode. I would fight people. But mainly, I used this game as a way of like being a budding fan fiction writer. You know what I would do? I would plug in multiple controllers to the GameCube, and I would play as multiple characters. I wouldn't have them fight each other. I would make like little storylines with the characters. So I had like Zelda and Link getting married. I had like a weird Mario, Daisy, Luigi triangle thing that was going on. I had like a Kirby being Zelda's wingman thing. I don't think that's how Nintendo wanted me to play this game. That's how I played the game for most of the time. I really loved it. I'm gonna say it probably shaped who I am as a person. That's pretty embarrassing. Outside of YouTube, I am a writer, so this isn't like the weirdest thing in the world that I was doing this, I think. But it was kind of a creative outlet for me in a way. Stupidly. But regardless, if you didn't play the game the weird way I did, it was still fun. Moving on to our final GameCube game, we have Mario Baseball. So, my family really likes baseball, which is probably why this game was purchased and I played it. And I'm not a sports person. I kind of hate sports, actually. But Mario Baseball is actually wildly thrilling. Obviously, I played the GameCube version first. That was the one I kind of mainly grew up with. It was really fun. There's not a lot to explain here. It's baseball, but with Mario characters. The Mario characters have different skills that dictates how good they are at baseball, specifically what position they're good at. You could use special skills to kind of like do crazy things. Like if you're Mario, you could make the ball go on fire. Or you're Yoshi, it becomes an egg and it starts bouncing around. It was cool. I liked it. I played this game a lot. I'm gonna go with solid game. This one I actually like more than Mario Kart and the others. It was great. It was a fun game. However, I think they made it infinitely more fun when it came to Wii. When it came to Wii, same game, Mario Baseball, Super Sluggers, Wii version. It was so much more fun because it really lent itself to the Wii system. You were able to use your Wii controller as the bat and to throw, and so you were being more physical than just clicking the buttons on the controller, which I think made for it to be a little bit more challenging, a lot more fun, and not only the specific controller mechanics making it better, but the storyline itself seemed more fun. They added in more characters to this one. I think it was a lot harder too. I remember the storyline aspect being difficult. Pretty much the storyline follows you going to each main NPC's stadium. So you'd go to Peach's stadium, and Peach would have all of these characters on her team that you didn't already have. And it was your job to beat Peach at a baseball game in order to get those characters to potentially join your team. So the point was to go to all the different NPCs, get as many different characters as you could, so then when you go and fight Bowser at the end, you have the best baseball team around. I can't even believe I'm describing this game to you. But yes, it was wildly fun. It was great. I loved this so much. I loved this, sorry, Tinkerbell, I guess I really loved. It's going above Mario Party, but it's going behind Tinkerbell. I loved this so much. I played this one a lot, specifically with my family. Still, it's very nostalgic for me, so it's going up near the top. Now we're fully into Wii games, so we might as well talk about the most popular Wii game ever, which was Wii Sports. I'm not sure I need to describe Wii Sports to you so much in case you don't know what it is. Pretty much, it is Wii Sports. You played different sports, but on the Wii. Specifically, in the original, there was golf, there was baseball, tennis, bowling, and my personal favorite, boxing. What was so fun about Wii Sports is I believe this was the first Wii game. I'm pretty sure when you bought your Wii, a lot of times Wii Sports, it was the bundle thing, it came with it. At least in my case, it was. So when you got the Wii, which was such an exciting system, especially when I was a kid, because you were able to use your hands and play video games in a whole different way. The game itself isn't very complex. It's pretty much just doing the hand movement patterns of the different sports games there are. Really fun. I think everybody had this game. Everybody played this game with their friends and with their family. So wherever you went, you could turn on Wii Sports and kind of just know that everyone was on board. It's definitely really nostalgic for me. I really loved this game. As much as I loved the game, I didn't play it as much as some of the other ones on the list. I really only played it with friends. It wasn't one I played by myself that much. But I do have to recognize that it is probably one of the most nostalgic games on the list. I'm gonna give it a solid game. I'm giving it a solid game. And it's gonna go at the top of solid game. Now, Wii Sports' couple years later cousin, or sibling, was Wii Sports Resort. Wii Sports Resort had you stay at a resort and you did some different kind of activities. Specifically, my favorite was the wakeboarding. I thought that was so much fun. There was basketball, there was archery. Similar to the first game with the boxing, there was fencing. It was great. This one was extra cool because it came with different attachments for your Wii controller, so it definitely got more complex than the original Wii Sports. It's tough because they're both so similar, and obviously the original Wii Sports is way more nostalgic to me, but Wii Sports did kind of innovate and make it better. I'm gonna put Wii Sports Resort over Wii Sports, but I'll call them pretty equal, to be honest. I really liked them both. This next game, I don't know if anyone else but me had this, because growing up, no one else but me had this. This game was called Carnival Games. So imagine Wii Sports, but instead, you're at a carnival, you're playing things like ring toss and dunk tanks and other games you would play at a carnival. The animation style was kind of terrifying on this one, but I remember loving this game so much as a kid because when all my friends would come over, we'd play Wii Sports, which everybody else had, and then after we got sick of it, I would always suggest playing this one because not that many of my friends had it. It was the same kind of concept, but different. It definitely is a lot more forgettable to me than Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. I did enjoy it though. I think overall it's a little forgettable. I did forget that it exists. The next game was called U-Draw Studio Instant Artist. Now, I don't know if you guys had the U-Draw system. I did, but it was pretty much an attachment for your Wii that was kind of like a little tablet sort of thing. I guess this was the first idea before the Wii U would kind of eventually come out. And this was compatible with a lot of different games, but I only had the Wii Draw Art Studio game. You were given this palette and this pen, and you were able to draw, and whatever you were drawing would go on your screen. It was cute. It wasn't like that complicated. It was relaxing. It was nice. It was cute. It was you know what it was? Cute. I think it was cuter than Peach and less cute than Sonic. Okay, moving on to Just Dance 2 and 3, both on the Wii. I guess I missed Just Dance 1. I must have missed it. Just Dance 2 specifically, the very first one that I played, was so much fun because it had so many different music genres that I'd never heard, songs I'd never heard. It was fun and colorful. There were different styles of dance that I never did before, and I think that's what I liked so much about it. I kind of grew up always listening to like theater music because I was really into musical theater. I still am, but that's mainly what I listened to as a kid, so I didn't really explore that many genres. But what was cool about Just Dance 2 specifically was I remember there was a tango song. My favorite song was this Bollywood song. Then there were also some kind of weird songs too, and there were like some weird dances. So I remember as a kid what I would do, because I was a little weirdo, similar to the Super Smash Bros. Game, I would put together a set list, and I would do the dances in order, and I would, as a kid, pretend I was performing this grand dance recital, and I'm pretty sure I made my mom watch a couple times, which was a little sad because I wouldn't do the full motion, like all the way out, because on Just Dance, since it was just the Wii, it's just tracking your hands, you could just kind of move your hands in place, and it was fine. So I definitely did that a lot of the time. It doesn't matter. I had tons of fun. This definitely shaped who I am as a person. I'm gonna put it above. Ooh. No, it's behind Smash Brothers. It was great. Just Dance 3. A couple of years later. To make this video, I thought I remembered Just Dance 3 not being as good. But then I looked through the songs that were on Just Dance 3, and we had fun hits like This Is Halloween from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and that one song that just goes Barbra Streisand, repeat, repeat, repeat. And my favorite one was Let's Go to the Mall, made famous from the TV show How I Met Your Mother. So I thought that this game wasn't as good as Just Dance 2. It wasn't, but it almost was. It almost was. It almost was. So it goes that I love this so much. It beats Tinkerbell. I never played another Just Dance game after these. I don't know why. My Just Dance era ended. I guess I was over it, but at one time in my life, I was a Just Dance fanatic. Moving on to a game I don't know if anyone remembers, but I remember it. The next game was also on Wii. It was called Epic Mickey. It pretty much was like a dark Disney game, and I'm not like the craziest Disney person, but the premise was all of the old-fashioned Disney characters that kind of never made it super big, Mickey accidentally erased the world they were from, so it was his job with this kind of magical paintbrush to go around and save all of these forgotten Disney characters. I remember thinking it was so cool because it was Mickey in this like adventure kind of way. It wasn't Mickey in the over-the-top, bright and happy way I was used to seeing him as a kid. I really loved the paint aspect of it. It felt very different and artistic to me. I really liked this game. I'm gonna put it as a solid game rather than I loved it so much, just because I remember it being quite difficult, specifically for however old I was at the time. This game came out in 2010, so I was probably 10 or 11. I guess I struggled with it a little bit, and I needed help from like my brother and my family. So I think because of that, because I wasn't able to get through it seamlessly on my own, like some of the other games, it was a solid game. I'm gonna say it was... Ooh, this is so hard. Okay, wait. I like it better than Mario DS. I like it... No, it goes there. It goes there. Mario Party 7 I like better. Okay, and the final two games obviously don't fit in with the rest, as they are the only non-Nintendo games on the list. I was a Nintendo console person. That's mainly what I liked to play, with the exception of Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet 1 and 2. We'll start with 1. There are so many things I could say about how amazing and incredible this game is. If you don't know what Little Big Planet is, it is a PlayStation exclusive game, so if you haven't played it, that might be why. Pretty much, it follows you as a cute little sack boy. It's a platformer game. Again, funny, because I always say I don't like platform games. Lie. A game all about creativity and making something new, pretty much. The storyline of the game follows Sackboy going to all of these different realms created by all of these creators and trying to help preserve the creations that they've made because there is this force trying to destroy them. And that's great. but that's not the best part of the game. The best part of the game was the online feature. What was so cool about Little Big Planet was you got to make your own levels. Based off of the items and materials and skills you got from the main storyline, you then could use those same things to make your own levels. And the levels weren't just boring jumping around platforming games. They got so wildly creative. Some of my favorites were like ones based off of my favorite movies. I remember there being a very cringy Twilight level that I played a lot as a kid, but there were also super fun, innovative challenges people came up with. The levels got so intricate, there were races, there were narrative story levels. Literally anything you can imagine, people made it happen. This game definitely shaped who I was as a child, and not that many of my friends played it, but I didn't care because I just felt like it was so creative and it just always brought me joy. There was always something new to explore, there were always more levels, and I loved it so much, and I didn't think I'd have another favorite game. Until Little Big Planet 2 came out, which is the same exact concept, little Sackboy going on adventure, but this one stepped up everything from the first game and, in my opinion, made it a lot better. They added in another fun storyline for Sackboy. Again, same kind of concept. There were these different creators with their own style, their own realm. You had to protect them from a force that was trying to destroy everything. Very simple at its core, but it was so specific and so cool. This game introduced a lot more different kind of skills for Sackboy to have. Specifically, there were a lot of devices Sackboy could use. Like, you could use a laser, you could use like a grappling hook. I think the jetpack was in the first game. There was a jetpack, but there was so many new things. There was like paint guns that would like trigger certain mechanics, so you can make like a puzzle that would only work if you had the certain tool. They brought all of these aspects that weren't in the first game and gave you even more creativity to make wild levels. In addition to that, they also gave hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of more clothing items and furniture and fabrics and textures and other things to make your levels as crazy as possible. My Little Big Planet journey did stop there. I know there is a third one. I never got to play it. I hope to maybe play it someday. I do have a PlayStation still. I could, maybe. But Little Big Planet 2, as much as I loved Little Big Planet 1, this was my favorite one. I loved this one so much, so I will say that was my favorite childhood game. I totally see why they made this a PlayStation exclusive. I feel like I literally bought a PlayStation as an adult to be able to play this game if I wanted to. However, I feel like if this game wasn't a PlayStation exclusive, if this game was a Nintendo game, I feel like it would be, it's already a big game. I feel like it could have been even bigger. Like, imagine this game on Switch. Oh my god, I would never be productive ever again. What's cool about Little Big Planet 2 and Little Big Planet 1 is it's the most reminiscent to me of how I feel about Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is the main game I started playing on this channel, in that there is so much creativity. So it can be as cute and wholesome as you want it to be, but it also doesn't have to be. And I think that's what I enjoyed so very much about it. So this was my list of my favorite childhood games. Hopefully I didn't expose myself too much, but here it is. And there you guys have it. That was my ranking of my very favorite childhood games. I hope you all enjoyed it, and hopefully you don't judge the games I played too harshly. But I want to know your opinion down below. Let me know your favorite console growing up, and let me know what were some of your favorite childhood games. Please be sure to click the lovely little like button on your way out, as well as subscribe for more cozy, chaotic content like this. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!